Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger and I'm with Truth Be Told. And with me today are documentary filmmakers Lauren Defilippo and Katherine Gorringe of the fantastic film Red Heaven. The film follows six scientists living in isolation for 1 year in preparation for an eventual mission to Mars. And it is just fantastic. Katherine, Lauren, hello, how are you?
We're
Doing
great.
well.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, this is great. So first off, guys, how did you two meet?
Well, we actually met in grad school in Stanford's documentary film and video program. And we were in the same cohort. It's a small program. There are only 8 people per year. So we got pretty close pretty fast. And actually, there's the second film that you make your first year in that program is a co-directing film. And we made a little film. It was like 8 minutes long,
Mhm.
8 or 9, called Detroit Party Marching Band. That was about a marching band in Detroit that went around and tried to bring joy and frivolity to the lives of the people. And so after we graduated, we were like, let's make a film together. We're definitely good collaborators.
That's awesome. And Lauren, what was it like meeting Catherine initially?
I was just impressed from the start. As she said, there were only 8 of us in this little group in school. And so just immediately, I just felt like she and I were destined to be friends. And, then we made it happen.
So cool. It's so great. I'm all about collaboration. So when I hear like an origin story of that nature, it's really
Mhm.
special.
Yeah, I think you can't really make documentaries alone is sort of my motto, about it all. I think there's just so many parts to it and collaboration is just so necessary. So finding the right people is really important.
Yeah, and for us, this is our first time directing a feature film. And as many first time filmmakers know, that's such a lonely process. And there are just so many years where no one cares if the film gets made but you. And so just to have it be the two of us and be able to like lean on each other through those hard times where there's no money and things aren't going well and you're just trying to scrape by is invaluable for sure.
So basically, you two have each other's backs through and through. So that's awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell me, how did Red Heaven come to be? What was the genesis of the project?
So, as Catherine said, we were studying at Stanford, living in Silicon Valley, and, sort of just caught up in the nuttiness of Silicon Valley, started hearing about these space entrepreneurs who were really talking about, sending people to Mars. And, not only did they want to send people there, but they really were kind of talking about it as a plan B. Should we kind of ruin things so much for ourselves here on Earth that we need a backup? And that was just like pretty idiotic to both of us, honestly. We kind of were just in disbelief about that, but at the same time, sort of really interested in all that brought up, kind of like how we as humans connect to our planet, how we think about our environment. And so we kind of just said, there's a film here. We want to learn more. And so we started learning about these Mars simulations that happen in a number of places around the world, and specifically about the High Seas, which is the program, the crew that you see featured in Red Heaven. And we got in touch with them, and they said, no, you can't make a film. Are you crazy? This is a rigorous science experiment. And you can't be inside, obviously that would break the simulation. But we kind of just persevered and basically ended up going to Hawaii as the crew was training to go into the dome, spent about 2 weeks with them in training and pretty much won them over so that they agreed to take our cameras and do the filming inside the dome of their experience. And we kind of directed remotely.
That's great. And the footage all came out terrific, by the way. Very clear picture, great audio. I'm curious, High Seas, are they part of NASA? Are they an offshoot, or are they a separate entity of scientists? How did that work in terms of both NASA and High Seas? Are they one and the same, or are they separate?
So it's a research project that's run through the University of Hawaii, and the lead researcher is Dr. Kim Binstead, and she is faculty at University of Hawaii. And then it's NASA funded, and then they publish the findings so that it's available to NASA or whoever wants to use this research for long duration space missions.
That's great. I love, and again, collaboration. So that's, what was it like going through all the footage? I know you had hours upon hours of great stuff. What was that process like?
It was great. You know, we say that it's a really unique documentary because there's archival documentaries where you just find this treasure trove of footage. And then there's more verite documentaries where you're, as the director, participating and you're there for every moment of the shooting. But we were kind of in this in between where it's like we collaborated in the filmmaking of it, we directed remotely, but at the same time, we didn't really know what was there until we sat down and watched it. And so just being able to watch everything was so fascinating because we knew and had spent time with our subjects, and we had stayed in touch with them over the year via email. So we knew what they were going through. And at the same time, it was really a process of discovery and seeing what was there in our footage and what had really happened to them. And I think we were both pretty shocked how intense this experience really was. To be confined for a year, to not really be able to go outside and to be with the same people and have this kind of monotonous lifestyle really impacted them, as you see in the film.
Well, yeah, of course. And Lauren, what was it like for you sifting through all that footage?
Well, I should say that Katherine actually edited the film as well.
Okay.
So she did a lot of the initial sifting. You know, it was a process too of sort of teaching the crew how to use a camera. You know, it started where they would send us kind of these very quick 3-second clips of things. And, you know, we would have to say, no, like, please put the camera down, just let things play out in front of it. There were some great moments. I think it was kind of it was a lot of digging for those gems for sure. And sifting through. I mean, we always like to say, you know, there was one point where they just sent us footage of bread rising and that kind of just speaks to, like, you know, the monotony that they were experiencing in there as well. But yeah.
There's also something really fascinating that we discovered about it being first person footage, because usually in a documentary, you kind of want the person holding the camera to blend into the screen. So you're never thinking about the person holding the camera, you're just thinking about what you're seeing. But we just really saw in the footage this opportunity, and we really tried to lean into it, of reminding the audience constantly who's holding the camera, because it's important that they decided to film something. And so, you know, if it's Christiana holding the camera, that we're seeing something that means something to her. So we really tried to draw that out.
So it seems like you guys kind of just had to take a back seat and just let them do all the heavy lifting, all the work, all the filming. So,
yeah, we should have just had them edit it too. I don't know.
Yeah.
We were thinking.
they had time. Was there any footage that didn't make the final cut?
Yeah, definitely.
We did a number of actually outside interviews as well. We kind of thought for a while, we had this idea about, like, the different kind of philosophers and storytellers around Mars. So we interviewed people like Kim Stanley Robinson, who, you know, is a great sci-fi writer, Mary Roach, who wrote a great book called Packing for Mars about Mars simulations. And we were really trying to integrate them kind of into the larger cultural context of, like, how we as humans sort of understand and connect with Mars. And honestly, they kind of just pushed themselves out as we continued editing. The film pushed them out. We really realized that this film was about these people inside the dome and their experience, their 365 days in isolation. And we just wanted the audience to be totally immersed in that.
Were there any, I'm sure there were, but what were some of the challenges you guys faced during production?
Well, I think the big challenge was directing remotely. And partly for us, it was just feeling present in the process of creating the footage, because we're on a totally different planet, no pun intended, but, and trying to correspond with them in there. But they were just having such a different experience of time passing of what their lives were, you know, because it was tense and it was boring in there for them. And, you know, they Dropbox us footage from time to time while they were in there. And then we got a lot of the footage after they came out, the rest of it. And we would see some of these shots that are like 6 seconds long or like really shaky camera. And so we had to kind of give them a little bit of feedback on, you know, just put the camera on a tripod and just like let it roll while you guys are having dinner, and really just like let the camera capture things. And that's not to say that they were not great shooters, because they actually did such a tremendous job. As you said, the footage came out really well, but it was a new experience. And actually once COVID hit, we were like, should we be offering people our knowledge of directing remotely, because it's going to be hard to make documentaries in a pandemic.
Lauren, for you, what is it like filming or working rather in the film industry during the pandemic?
Well, it's definitely been challenging. Everything is just much harder across the board, you know, sort of no matter what phase you're in, whether you're trying to raise money or go into production or do post, you know, there's just new challenges that I think we could have never really anticipated. You know, we with Red Heaven, we were set to premiere at South by Southwest in 2020, and of course that was really heartbreaking when that festival was canceled, and was kind of the first then of many to either be canceled or move remotely. And so yeah, we're just trying to adapt like everyone else, but keep pushing along.
That's great. Yeah, you got to definitely change with the times, obviously. And to direct a film remotely, guys, that's a huge undertaking and a great achievement. And I want to congratulate both of you on that.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you hope audiences take away from Red Heaven?
Yeah, well, that's a big question. And I hope people watch the film and, and take away what they take away, But I think what was really at the heart of what Lauren and I were excited about with this film and really driven by throughout the entire process is just this idea of what Mars really means to us as human beings. You know, we say this is a film about Mars, but it's really about Earth, and it's a film about space, but it's really just about human beings. And what we're really interested in is people, first of all, thinking like, when we look into the future, what does that really say about our present, about our values and our hopes and dreams as a species? And then just on a simple level, we just want people, when they walk out of the theater, if people ever watch it in the theater, when they walk out of their room and they walk out of the theater, that they have this new appreciation for our Earth and our earthly environment and our own habitat that we already live in.
Nice. And I meant to ask this earlier, but do either of you have a background in science or space exploration? I'm curious, or you're just filmmakers through and through, and that's it?
I did a report about Mars in 4th grade, so it's always had a special place in my heart, but that is it.
I think I wrote that report too.
Nice.
Yeah, no, we're definitely not born and bred science people. Lauren actually has studied literature, and I've studied history and music, and we definitely come from like the humanities and the arts. Right. And so I think it creates an interesting perspective just for a science film. And that's the direction that we came at this film, which was that like, this isn't about the technology to get us to space. This is about the humanity that is going to cause us problems once we get there.
Yeah, they should just send robots up there or monkeys again, because
a lot of people argue for that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, who are some of your filmmaker influences, Lauren?
Well, I think, who are my filmmaker influences, Catherine? This is always a hard question.
You probably share the same ones, right?
I mean, I guess we always say we love filmmakers like Chantal Akerman for just people who really kind of push the form and kind of force us. Pennybaker. Yeah, just propel us to like look at things differently and sort of use the camera in an amazing way that sort of frames things with, you know, new eyes for an audience. I feel like that was something we were really aspiring towards.
Are you guys into science fiction at all?
Definitely. That was a huge inspiration for making this film, because we just thought, oh, this is a science nonfiction film. It's about imagination and it's about the future, but it's all real and all true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like am a personal fan of like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and we thought about sunshine while we made this film, and a lot of other sci-fi.
Yeah, one of my favorite shots in Red Heaven is there's a scene where you can see all the DVDs and Blu-rays that are in the scientists collection, and they're watching The Martian in one. So that was great. That was brilliant. Was that like a joke that you told them to throw in, or was that their own creation?
Well, they actually got an advanced copy of The Martian. While they were in there, The Martian went to theaters, I think, towards the end of their stay. So before it even went to theaters, they had a special copy of it that was sent to the Dome. They got occasional resupplies.
That was 2015, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were able to have a screening of The Martian ahead of time. And I think they even like did a podcast with Andy Weir at the time and stuff like that. So, and you know, we just made sure that they filmed it so we could lean into it.
Yeah. And that really was their collection of DVDs inside the Dome. So we just
Mars
thought that was hilarious. Yeah.
Where do you see the direction of documentaries going? I mean, this is a pretty fantastic film. You know, covers a great subject, something that anyone can get behind. But, you know, documentaries are basically there to promote change, or like a conduit for change. Where do you see the future of documentaries going?
Well, I think I would actually complicate that the statement that you just made, because while, I mean, I'm a supporter of documentaries for change, and I think they play a really important role in our society, I think we're going in a direction where documentaries are more accepted by audiences as just a piece of art, the way that any fiction film is, and that people are more understanding, especially with the rise of reality television, that these things are constructed. And even if it's real, you're still showing some things and hiding some other things just by making any cut and choosing what to film throughout the entire process. So I think we're just entering this, a lot of people say that we're already in this golden age of documentary where it's just becoming a true art form and kind of blossoming out of its roots of just more social change aims.
Okay.
Would you agree with that, Lauren? Was that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's totally how we approach our films. We're kind of just looking for good stories first and foremost. And then we feel like it's our job, you know, as the storytellers to make an audience agree and kind of go on a journey and feel the ups and downs of that experience with whoever they're watching. And that just as many of those stories exist in real life as they do in, you know, a screenwriter's imagination. So we're just trying to bring those good stories to the forefront.
And I love that, science nonfiction. Perfect phrase for this.
The new genre.
We're trying to trademark it, so run with it.
Are there any projects that you're currently working on or planning on working on in the near future?
Yeah, so I have 2 other projects going right now. I'm producing a film on choreographer Elvin Ailey that'll be coming out early next year. And then I'm also directing my next feature about the world's biggest universal basic income experiment that's happening in Kenya right now. And that one is called Free Money.
Cool. Sounds great.
And I'm primarily an editor, and I'm working on a film called Women of the Mountain that's about a family's history of abuse told by one family member who's this incredible journalist and ultra marathon runner.
Cool. Very heavy topics here. Fun stuff. I love it. Any chance of getting into, you know, maybe fiction?
I toy with it a little bit, but so far have not done more than like dip a toe. So we're trying to get good at documentary first.
Yeah, definitely
takes a lot of time.
my heart is in documentary. I just
Yeah.
like, there's just nothing more exciting to me when it's like you create something, it's like this actually happened. Like this is a real
I know
life.
it resonates more with the audience because they can actually identify with it. It's, you know, it's not just like Avatar and space battles. It's like real people, and
Hmm.
that's a great thing. Um, but so you just mentioned projects that you're working on now. What are some dream projects? What are some documentary subjects that you'd love to tackle in the future?
Well, I mean, I have a few, but it's all like, you know, it's stuff that's kind of like in the cupboard that I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about yet, or
Okay,
like
okay.
ideas that are
Jump the gun.
still
I'm
milling around.
sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's a totally valid question. But it's like, you know, those ideas, a lot of ideas come and go, and then the ones that stick are the ones that like pull you into this crazy process of multiple years making a feature. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I
back
kind
to
of want to make a sports documentary one day.
okay. I look forward to that.
Yeah, we've got some ideas we're throwing around, so more to come.
And with Red Heaven, I just want to go back a little bit. So I noticed was there some score? Was that some original score in the film?
Yeah, all of the film was scored by William Ryan Fritsch, who was just an incredible composer we were able to work with.
Yeah, it really captured the beauty of like the mountains and the sunsets.
Hmm.
Perfectly, you know, perfect marriage of audio and visual. So that was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, we kind of decided early on in the edit to sort of shy away from the sci-fi sort of more typical sounds and really try and go something that felt like a little bit more kind of organic and rich and
Yeah,
maybe even a little more primal, you know, it's kind of what we were aiming for. So
mission accomplished on that.
thank you.
um, so so basically, obviously, it's a fiction, it's non-fiction film. It's a documentary, but there are some parallels there with science fiction. Was that intended? Were you intending to imply that there was some, you know, like the existence of alien life, or am I again jumping the gun? Am I assuming too much there? Was that the intent of the film?
Yeah, we were constantly trying to play with sci-fi genres as an inspiration. You know, it was a huge part of kind of what interested us in this Mars story in the first place. So I think we were always looking for the opportunities where we could kind of create those parallels or give a little nod. You know, there's that they go on this epic EVA and they talk about, you know, this would be what it would be like if they were searching for life on Mars and inside lava tubes. And then we have this one little moment of a spider web, like, you know, kind of the piece of life there. So I think it was always something we were interested in and that was kind of fun for us to play more, especially with the environment too, and kind of the more landscape shots and just sort of getting you to feel the space as well.
Yeah, even though they're still on Earth, they're in Hawaii. It does definitely feel like they're on a foreign planet, and that was just a great style, great tone you established there.
Thanks.
Were there any other titles, or was Red Heaven always the title of the film?
It was pretty much always the title. We read this amazing article in this publication, this journal called Dark Mountain.
Hmm.
That this article or essay is by Tim Fox, and it's just this incredible thing that really got like to our like into our hearts and souls while making this film. That was like kind of what we wanted to go for, which was all about Mars kind of in the cultural imagination and what it means when we look into the stars. And humans have always seen this red dot in the sky and wondered about what it was. And as we're getting closer and closer to actually going there, you know, what does that mean? And what does that say about our relationship with our current planet?
Right.
And he says like, and we dream of a red heaven. And that just always stuck with us. Like we just got chills when we read that. And so that was always kind of our drumbeat while we were making this film. That's like, you know, we have to figure out the story and we have to figure out how our subjects are going to work in it and everything that's going to happen. But we know that there's this feeling that we're going for this whole time.
It really is a perfect title. So yeah, great job with that. This is also hypothetical. You have to excuse me, but do you foresee a follow-up film, maybe like during the actual mission, if possible, or when that mission is completed and all the data is collected? Would you possibly do a follow-up film?
Yeah, we're gonna send Lauren on a rocket to Mars to do a first-person film.
I'll film it. Katherine will edit it. It'll be a big hit.
That sounds crazier things have happened, I think.
Crazier things have happened.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, as of this point, no plans for a follow-up.
So how can people see this film? How can people actually view Red Heaven? Great film. You need to see it.
So Red Heaven is available as we speak on Doc NYC. You can go to their site, which, by the way, is just a fantastic documentary festival with many different titles to check out. So I would highly recommend it.
It ends on the 19th, so 2 more days.
Yes. So please tune in and don't forget to vote if you do watch the film. And then at this point, the film is for sale. So we're looking for the right broadcaster or streaming partner.
Well, all right. Lauren, Katherine, I want to thank you so much for your time today. This was great. The film is amazing, and seriously, everybody needs to see this. It's a marvel, and congratulations to both of you.
Thank you. Great
Thank you so
talking to
much.
you.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm Randy Unger with Truth Be Told. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.